Daniel from the Roo Bus. What's going on, my friend?
Taco from his bus. What are you doing? What are you up to?
I'm just hanging out. We've got a special guest out. He's biting me. There
Uh-oh.
is Sebastian. Say hi.
Sebastian. I love
Yeah,
him. How old is he?
I
Do
do
you
too.
know?
I think he's about 14 or 15.
Oh wow, he's an old boy. He
Yeah,
looks like he's
he's
doing
old.
well.
He's old man. He's good. He's good.
Well, Ricky is here somewhere. He might come make an appearance later if he gets up from his nap. What have you been up to?
Trying to get ready for Bonnaroo. Trying to get some work done. Trying to hopefully get this engine here soon. But so far, it's a lot of
So,
waiting.
tell me the whole story with that. I know you're replacing the engine, and
hmm
you had went up to St. Louis earlier this year to talk with the guy that's doing it. When did you go up there? You and Cooper headed up there, what, months ago?
Yeah, we went over spring break last month, and
So is this
yeah.
guy just backed up? Has he got other VWs to get to before yours?
Oh yeah, I've been on his list since October.
Oh wow. He
Yeah,
must be really
so
good if he's backed up with a whole bunch of other ones.
I hope he's good. We'll see. Yeah, he's come highly recommended. I've talked to people that have his engine and they've gone just all over the country in it and not had any problems. So that's that's what I need. I'm tired of slapping together used engines and then just getting a few 100,000 miles out of them and then
Yeah.
or not even that and then having to replace it again. So hopefully this is the forever engine.
Well, we've talked shop about this kind of thing before. I know all about the struggle bus.
Yeah,
Right now I'm fighting some ignition issues again. Well, more accurately, I should say battery issues. I told you about
I
that
thought
last
it's
time
I
we
thought
were.
it's diesel.
It is a diesel. So the
So there
Rubus
is no,
has
it's self-igniting. There's no
yeah,
ignition system.
well, shows how much I know. But the
Diesel
Rubus
combusts
has,
from heat and compression.
if you say so. It has a, two battery system, so they're kind of like banked together. And we've
hmm
talked about this before. There's something in there that drains the battery. I can get it started. It just takes a little work every time. I cranked it up yesterday and backed it up just a hair because we're going to take it on a test drive tomorrow. But this morning I'm like, let me go double check it. And now it's not. But I know why. It just needs to get more juice to the battery. So I've already arranged a jump for Monday morning of Roo just in case because I
Okay.
know it'll probably
Yeah.
happen.
Those slow drains are hard to track down.
Yeah, I gave up on trying to figure out what it was. It's not anything in the cabin because I turned the switch off, so it's disconnected the bank, so it's not coming up there. And it had two new batteries installed like 2 years ago, so I don't know. It's haunted. That's all I can get to.
Yeah, it's haunted. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we do have some Roo stuff to talk about. There was some news that dropped just like an hour before we started recording this on Friday the 26th.
Correct. And it's GRiZ.
I'm pretty excited about that. How do you feel? Is that an adequate replacement to Rainbow Kitten?
I mean, I was looking forward to Rainbow Kitten Surprise.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know if I'm looking forward to GRiZ as much, but people seem to love them. So
Well, you should look up those, what is it, Catching the Golden Hour? I think that's what it's called. You should look up those little albums that he has on Spotify. It's way more chill and laid back, like vibey, like Wook elevator music almost.
book elevator music. Okay. I'm glad we got a replacement at all because remember what was a couple years ago, Brockhampton dropped out, and
Yeah.
they just never replaced them, and that might have been just timing or availability, but
There
so I
were
was
there were a lot of people that went over to that tent that night when nothing was scheduled because they were convinced that there was going to be some surprise set. There was
I
like
remember that.
50,
Yeah.
60 people just standing there and they saw like some of the crew come out there and moving things. And they're like, yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, we're packing up for the night. Nothing's playing here.
hmm
Go to something else.
Yeah, of course, this was a wet stage and a pretty good time slot, so it makes sense that they would want to have that filled.
Yeah. And GRiZ has been up for a lot of those kind of things. I think he filled in for something down in Okeechobee a couple of months ago, if I remember right. It's easy
Okay.
for him to fill in because, I mean, he's got a saxophone and a laptop. That's essentially it.
Yeah, so he might just be the new go-to replacement when somebody drops out.
I'm okay with it. You do need to check
Yeah.
out those Chasing the Golden Hour playlists. I think you'll like them.
Okay.
It's not like the ear-splitting, glitchy stuff that you may be thinking of.
Yeah, there was some other news too that came out. Didn't we get the they released the what is it? The Howl, the
The yeah, the house stage. So there was two
Howl
separate
stage.
ones. Yeah, there is the Planet Roo schedule, and also the one that
That's
you're
what it
talking
was.
about. Yeah, yeah. I've got to put in a plug for my coworker buddies. They're going to be doing a NASA presentation on sustainability Saturday at 2, I believe.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Was there was a little bit of NASA involved there, and I
Yeah.
think you probably had a little something to do with that.
Yeah, there is very slight overlap with my department over at Marshall Space Flight Center. That's mostly the crew that's putting it together. They are going to be doing something a little bit different than you may expect. So they're going to be talking about like green initiatives and earth science. Of course, they'll probably have a model or two of the SLS rocket or something like that. But they're going to be talking about like, hey, how we can save the planet. I think that's kind of what their presentation in Planet Roo is going to be about. They thought that would be the kind of thing that a lot of Bonnaroovians would be interested in. It's like kind of
Oh yeah,
green
well,
topics, you know?
that's pretty cool. So, and when is that again?
That presentation is going to be Saturday at 2 in Planet Roo, but they have a few others at one of the plazas as well. I want to say it's like at 2 in the afternoon on Saturday. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I'm going to book it over there and go visit them after we get done with the Reddaroo Beer Exchange.
Okay, cool. Um, well, I mean, it makes sense too. With this year, when Bonnaroo is doing so much of a space themed, overall presentation, to just have NASA there too.
Yeah, and they're going to have some really cool stuff apart from just the presentations. Everybody should go check them out. I think they're going to have some NASA swag to give away and things.
Cool. And yeah, so you mentioned the Reddaroo Beer Exchange. I believe they released the signature beer from Pontoon Brewing for that
Yeah, did you see the
earlier this
label?
week. Yeah, the label's really cool.
It's all the otters at the beer exchange.
Yeah, yeah.
They do a good job with that every year. So wait a minute, you can't just come to that and bring PBR. What are you going to bring?
No, I remember. I joked about bringing PBR, and I will. But I also brought several Chattanooga-based brewery beers from here with me to bring.
Okay, who are
Um,
the big ones in Chattanooga?
Hutton and Smith, Odd Story. There's a couple more. I think last year I brought a Hutton and Smith and a Odd Story.
Okay,
But there's quite a few breweries here.
what's your drink of
Uh,
choice in those local places?
Hutton and Smith makes one they call a Base Camp Blonde,
Ooh,
and it's pretty much just like a light beer. And then Naked River has a Naked Light, which is pretty much like their version of a PBR. And
is
of
somebody
course
naked
they've
on the
all
label?
yeah yeah yeah. Of course they also make all the IPAs and the the heavy beers and the craft beers and all that.
Yeah,
So I try to just bring a good mix of those.
we're
Of
gonna
course,
bring.
last year, what are you bringing?
We're gonna try to bring a few from Brooklyn's brewery. She works over at Straight to L at
Straight
Campus
to ale.
here in
Yeah.
Huntsville. They make a lot of good stuff. We were just over there last night. They have good seltzers, sours, ciders, in addition to all their IPAs and other traditional beers. I don't know if she has told you, but she is going to have her own beer that's supposed to be ready
No.
before too long. It might be ready for Bonnaroo. I don't know. We're cutting it kind of close. I was over there last night, and she said that it was in the pot, the bin, whatever they call it back there. They're starting to get it ready.
Okay. Oh, that's news. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's pretty
She can
cool.
tell you more about it, but I think it had dragon fruit in it, perhaps. She's going to kill me if I didn't
Dragon
get that
fruit.
right.
Yeah. You better get it right.
Yeah, but
Okay.
hopefully
Maybe
we'll
we'll have
have.
some of that.
Yeah, so Straight Ale has a lot of good stuff. Might try to sneak in some other ones, but we got to plug them since Brooklyn works over there. They're very good people. We love them to death. Whenever we have somebody from out of town, we go over there and go to eat. I think you went with us over there one time, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I need to come back and we'll go back to. I mean, that whole campus was pretty neat because it didn't it used to be a school.
Yeah, so it is on Governor's Drive in Huntsville, and up until about 15 years ago, it was I think a middle school and a high
Hmm.
school perhaps. But Straight to L, that brewery is basically inside what used to be the basketball gym. So the
That's
main
right.
area where you can sit down and eat used to be the concession stand, and then they built a back porch, and then the part that actually was the gym where they played ball is where all the brewery stuff is. So you can walk through
Hmm.
and see it all.
Cool. I just hope we actually get a beer exchange this year because you remember what happened last year. We had that bad weather come in and pretty much had to close everything down.
That sucked, but it was also one of my favorite moments of Rue last year because everybody collectively made the best of that situation. We all had to lock down. So you and Barry had to escape. They took you away on the golf cart backstage.
They took us out.
Yeah.
Yes.
But after you left, everybody hunkered down for about, I don't know, 20 minutes, a half hour, or something like that. There were a lot of people that came from way on the other side of the campground, so we invited them in the bus so they could take shelter in case it started lightning or whatever. And when it was clear that nothing was going to happen, we still had to wait for forever for everything to get going again. It was about a good
Yeah,
solid half hour. So there was a guy that had a giant Bluetooth boombox that just started blasting Cherub, and it just turned into a dance party while we waited for everything to go. That was
that's
so
cool.
fun. That was,
Yeah.
if you were at any other festival, everybody would be kind of ticked off, like, "Oh, we gotta wait. This storm sucks." But there was like, "Hey, no, we're still gonna party." I don't
No,
think
you
you
just
see
make
that
the best
anywhere
of it.
else other than Bonnaroo.
No, no. What happened with us was, we had to get a golf cart ride because from where our camp is, way back behind the stage, I mean, it's just not possible for us to walk all the way through to what was it, Plaza Seven?
Yeah, that's almost a mile. Feels like.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, we're transporting. We've both got beers, we've got recording equipment, laptops, all that. So like, we needed the golf cart. So Ken from Big Hassle hooked us up. The girl picked us up, drove us all the way over there, and then she got out and said, "You know what? I've never been to the beer exchange. I want to check it out." And we're like, "All right, cool." So we were all kind of standing around, and she actually got the call on her walkie-talkie before they made the big announcement. That basically said, everyone back to your station. We're gonna have to,
Yeah.
close down for a little bit. So she had to hightail it back, and we were like, "Well, we'd better go with you because there's no telling when we'll get another ride back." So we pretty much had to leave right then, which sucked. But we made it back to camp and just kind of hunkered down.
Yeah, I wish you could have stayed, but I mean, the chances are
Yeah.
low. There's going to be a bad storm that same time this year, so you got to come this year.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be back this year, and hopefully we get through the whole thing because, I mean, we had big plans. We were going to record. We were going to talk to a bunch of people. I mean, we had a lot of people that because we had said we're going to be at the beer exchange. A lot of people said they came to look for us, and of course we weren't there. So
Yeah. What's your
we'll be
what's your
back
plans
next
for
year.
recording this year? Are you going to have? I know you're going to have some artist interviews, but are you going to do some recording out in the camps or anything?
I hope so. I mean, I want to do as much as we can. It just comes down to logistics and equipment and all that. But yeah, it would be cool to. I mean, we do have some artists that we're talking to probably at Camp Nut Butter.
I know Barry's
Maybe a
excited
few.
about one particular interview you guys have coming up.
Yeah, hopefully we can get that done on the farm because
Really?
scheduling has been. Yeah, yeah, and there's a couple of artists we've tried to make work interviews wise, and it like the scheduling is just not worked out. So it looks like
Yeah.
everything's just getting pushed to on site, which is
It's
fine.
tough, man. Like we considered doing that one year, I think back in 2018. Um, that's when we thought like our podcast was going to go in a slightly different direction. I wanted to do some artist interviews, but like it it's funny that they call it Big Hassle Media because sometimes it can be a hassle to go through them and get like your credentials and everything.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah,
But no, I mean, I'm glad you guys are there to do that because we found our, you guys call them like what railways or what do you call it when everybody goes through
yeah,
the
all the
lane?
lanes,
The
the
lane.
lanes. Yeah,
We found our lane, and it isn't
hmm
necessarily like artist stuff or behind the scenes stuff. Which, if an artist comes to us and says, "Hey, I want to be on," I'm not going to say no, but it's not something we seek
right.
out. That's more
Sure.
you guys. I'm happy to leave it to you.
Sure. And Barry and Brad, both got the connections industry wide to know how to book that stuff for our show. So
Hmm.
it works out. I mean, there's definitely a lane for each of the podcasts. I guess really the three main ones.
Barry really is going to be like Chris Farley in that old SNL skit where he's like, "So that concert was awesome, wasn't it?"
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Like, remember when you were in the Beatles? That was cool.
Yeah, that's gonna be Barry. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is funny because I mean, he's been a reporter for 30 something years. He's interviewed all kinds of people, and I don't think he's ever talked about being so starstruck with anyone.
It's weird. I feel like when you meet one of your kind of sort of heroes, whether they be a musician or somebody else, you have to get rid of like the fanboy or fangirl part of your brain and just be like, "Hey, this is a buddy that I'm going to hang out with for a little while." Like you guys have
Right.
had some pretty big interviews. You just have to get your head in that mindset so you don't become Chris Farley.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah, and then well, and like last year, when we got to interview churches, that was kind of a last minute thing. It was kind of
yeah,
like we just got contacted and was like, "Hey, these guys have a few minutes if you want to stop by," and like we're like, hell yeah. So we dropped everything and made our way over there. So there's no telling, what exactly we'll get to record, but hopefully we get a lot done.
That whole thing was funny because David Bruce took a photo that made the three of them look like they were about to enter like a WWE cage match.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that was made it even cooler because David Bruce had like just met up with us just to hang out, and then we got the word, and we're like, "Hey, you want to come and like shoot this?" And he's like, "Hell yeah!" So
Yeah.
it just all worked out. Yeah, he got some great pictures from that.
I talked to him a couple of weeks ago. Of course, he's going to be back. I think he's bringing some of his family as well, like he did last time.
Yes, and he got a media pass this time too. Finally.
Thank goodness. He's been doing so much
Hmm.
good for them for almost 10 years. Over 10 years, I suppose. He's been working directly with them now, doing some of their promo shots. I can't wait to see what he
Hmm.
does this year now that he's going to have better access.
He sent us a little preview of like kind of what he's working on, and it's really cool.
Mhm.
And I think some of that he'll be able to show off at Bonnaroo this year.
Nice.
I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, he's doing some pretty big stuff with them.
I have to really brag on the people that are behind the scenes at Bonnaroo these days because they have made a really visible effort to reach out to the community this past year. Like they did those plaza pitches where they had people from the community, pitch their ideas for activities or events that they wanted to see in the campgrounds. Our friend Davis is doing one of them. He's doing the speed dating and speed friending. I originally thought that we might do that, but it was clear that, oh, he's going to be way better at this. Please, you should do this.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
there's a couple of others, and they were really cool. They gave pit passes to somebody that we were just talking about just for pitching it. I thought that was so nice of them.
It's pretty good. Yeah, they've definitely gotten a lot better, right? Because it seems like they kind of had a few stumbles, especially handling the cancellation and delays and all that.
Yeah, I think there was, unintentionally a disconnect after the pandemic and the hurricane years, where like the people that were, formerly with AC or now with Live Nation, like weren't in touch with the community as good as they could have been. And it wasn't anybody's fault. It was just a byproduct of us not having been together for so long.
Yeah, I mean it's just fallout from everything that happened. It wasn't any one specific person or event,
Yeah.
but it's good that they're kind of trying to reconnect and bring the fans back
Yeah.
into the fold, I guess, as it were.
I love that they own up to things that don't work out. Like they will be honest and tell you like, "Hey, we just throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks." Like one entrance at the arch, they pretty much said like, "Yeah, that wasn't a good idea."
Yeah, they recognize that right away. It's like, oh, well, we won't do this again. Yeah.
Last year when they had to change things up a little bit because it had become congested, it became on our side, on the campground side, a little bit of a free for all. That was the one year that I had actually snuck in something into Cindery that I probably shouldn't have. It was just a bottle of bourbon. I promise. I wasn't hurting anybody.
Yeah.
But it was fun, like because right before Tool started last year, we had a group of about 15 of us kind of behind the sound stage, and I had like a whole bottle of Jim Beam. I'm like, you know what? I had some little plastic shot glasses, handed some around everybody, and we took church communion right there before Tool started. That was fun.
Nice.
Maybe we'll try that again this year. We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the difference between last year and this year. I mean, last year was so low attended, and this year it's probably going to be a sellout, if not close to it, right? So,
Well, if it's not technically a sellout, I think I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of days beforehand they were like, "Hey, we're sold out." They kind of did that a few
Mhm.
times back in the day, which I mean, it's close enough to call it a sellout, anyways. I think they're just handful left at this point, essentially.
yeah, I mean, and it's pretty much arbitrary. They can just announce at any point, "Hey, we're sold out," So,
Yeah, I'll give you some
yeah. So
inside baseball like that I heard.
okay.
They were kind of happy that there's a plane flying over my house. I'm on the back
Uh-oh.
porch. You hear that? We are
Take
right in
cover.
line of the Huntsville airport. So whenever
Oh, you're
there's
right in the
one
flight path.
coming from Atlanta, it goes right over our house. There it goes. Bye. Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
So in the hurricane year, some people were actually kind of happy that it didn't happen because it was going to be a little overbooked in terms of camping, from what I heard. Like they were going to have people all the way on the other side of Bushy Branch, like what is it, north of there, I suppose. It would have
Yeah.
been a hike for a lot of people because that one, 21, was practically sold out if I remember right.
It was, and 2020 sold out quickly. Of course, it was canceled, but I mean,
Yeah.
that would have been probably a tough one to attend, just, trying to cram all those people in. So
Yeah,
be
that one
curious to
sold
see how
out.
they handle it this year.
It sold out in like late February, if I remember right.
Yes, it sold out early.
It was wild.
Hmm.
That was the lineup that was never meant to be. It was too good for
I
the
know
tour.
it was too good. Yeah.
I feel like this one is a good one that comes within spitting distance of the 2020 lineup. Like, for me personally, there's no one artist besides the Foo Fighters that's just like, oh, this is killer. Like, I love this. But there's a lot of stuff where I'm like, hey, I'm really into this. Most of them, I've been to Bonnaroo almost 10 years now, and I've been to a lot of other festivals. Most of them I have seen before. There's a few I haven't. But it's so spread out, and there's so many good picks that it feels like a top-tier Bonnaroo.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt about it. I mean, you probably saw my where I ran down through my picks.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
not a lot that's like absolutely dying to see, but I mean, each day there's a good mix of like stuff that I'm really interested in, and I mean, I think it's just gonna be a different experience versus like you have to be at this show and have to be at that show.
Yeah. I am going to take some of your advice from your pick episode. I'm going to have like a day or two where I have just like 3, 4, maybe even 5 hours where I have nothing specifically planned. I'm just going to roam around, go in a direction, and see what happens.
Exactly, yeah, and you never know. Like either somebody's gonna invite you and say, "Hey, come over here, we're doing this," and it's like, "Okay, I've got nothing
Okay,
else
let's
to do, so
go.
let's go." Yeah, or you're gonna wander around and hear like over here, like, "Oh, what is that?" And you'll go close to it, and then that might end up being your favorite show of the weekend.
Yeah. You remember that movie with Jim Carrey, Yes Man? I feel like that
Hmm.
has to be you at Bonnaroo if you want to have a good time. It's like, yep.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
You want me to go out to the
Uh,
campgrounds for like Jello wrestling? Yes, let's go.
yes. Yeah. Don't say no to anything. Always say yes. That's yeah. It'll get you into trouble sometimes.
Bonnaroo, never not yes.
Never not yes. That's right. So
So you
yeah,
are
it's
going to
good.
have to come out for the beer exchange so you can come see us. I think the plan is the group plaza is going to be a little bit different than last year. They're not going to have the giant stage like they had in front of us last year, but they are going
Okay.
to have that little community tent and some other stuff. They again listen to the feedback. They're going to have some more facilities for people that are going to be in group. Group is going to be packed. I don't know if you looked at the list of all the different groups, but it's going to
No.
be a large, a lot more than last year. We have
Okay.
almost, I think, 170 in our group.
Wow. So if I've never done groups. So what is the difference? Like you just all sign up as a group, and then what? You don't have individual campsites, or like
Originally, I think the intention of group, like when it started, like maybe 10 years ago, maybe a little earlier than that, was if you had a group of about 25 to 50 or whatever, you could all sign up
hmm
and guarantee that you're going to park next to each other. You're going to be together. Because think about
Okay,
it, if you have a lot of people coming in different times from different places, it would be tough to all get together, right?
that's true.
But I feel like it has evolved significantly in the years past because let's use Reddaroo for example. They were one that didn't necessarily all know each other already. They organized on Reddit when they first started, saying like, "Hey, we're going to put together a big group camp. Anybody and everybody can join." And now the group area has become a little similar to like what you see at Burning Man. So like Charlie and I got to go there last year, and I would say like 80% of all the camps at Burning Man are groups like that. People who don't necessarily know each other, but they come to like one themed camp. So at
Okay.
Burning Man, we parked next to one that was like disco themed. They had a disco party one night. That was fun. There was other ones that would provide like different services. Like there was one that'll like give you like a foot bath. I mean, there's all kinds of different things. There was a Star Wars themed camp that had like all the different helmets, and the main area looked like Luke's little hut on Tatooine or whatever. That was really
hmm
cool. So I feel like Bonnaroo is getting there with the group area because a lot of the different groups have sort of like a theme. So there is Camp Trying to Go to Bed. It's named after like a throwaway joke that Pretty Lights had almost 10 years ago in 2013. But it's a lot of the parachute people. So they have kind of that theme. You'll see the parachute,
Okay.
it'll be across like one of those big dome things. And then, of course, like our camp is Roo Bus, so it'll be next to the bus. Reddaroo has had their thing for years. They are, of course, known for what we talked about with the beer exchange and a bunch of other fun things. And just Mitchell being there and being Mitchell.
Yeah.
So I love that
Yeah.
they're encouraging this, and like we were talking about earlier, Bonnaroo has really gotten their hands dirty with community, and they have encouraged like all the different groups to put on their own events. They will provide a lot of the groundwork for events and put it on the schedule. I love that. I love that so much. I
Yeah.
think,
No, that's so cool.
yeah, that builds a healthy community and ecosystem where everybody feels like they have a hand in the festival. I I don't want Bonnaroo to be like the kind of thing where it's like we speak, you listen. I think it needs to be like an ongoing conversation and back and forth participation between the people who are putting it on and the people who are there. We joked about this
Sure.
last year because, you know, a company may own the trademark, a company may own the property, but the community kind of owns itself. Like they are Bonnaroo. Bonnaroo isn't the place. Bonnaroo is the people.
I know, and what is a trademark and a property without that community? So you really have to have it all.
Exactly. What would Disney World be like if you didn't have Disney adults going there to spend all their money?
Exactly, yeah. Um, so this is the first time you're doing a Roo Bus Groop Camp, is that right?
Yeah, we thought about doing it last year. Charlotte got really inspired after we went to Burning Man, and she wanted to kind of adopt the idea of what they were doing. So we're trying it a little bit different. This is a little bit of an experiment this year. So, like I said, we have about 170 people, and we're trying something where everybody is a leader and nobody is a leader at the same time. Like there's nobody
Okay.
in charge because everybody is in charge. So we put out a sign up sheet to everybody that's going to be there and said, hey, everybody take a small job so that nobody has a big job. So there's a lot of little things, like somebody will be in charge of making sure that camp is safe, that there aren't any tripping hazards or fire hazards. Or if somebody's having a bad time, they'll make sure that they alert like the medical people.
Hmm.
Somebody is in charge of keeping the place clean and tidy. There's a lot of little things like that. So it's like, hey, just pitch in when
Okay.
you can, but
Yeah.
also go
Ra-
be irresponsible at Bonnaroo when you're not here.
yeah. So rather than somebody just handing out jobs like you do this, you do that, everybody just kind of takes a piece that they can handle.
Yeah, yeah. So we made a big list of stuff that we knew needed to be done, and everybody volunteered for something. And we also had like kind of like a fill in the blank. Like if there's something that we've missed that you want to do that you think we need, just write it down, and that'll be your
Yeah.
job. So
Okay.
like we'll have a big meetup, and we'll just kind of know who is doing what, and we'll hand out wristbands to everybody that's got a job, and then they get like drinks and stuff for pitching in.
Sounds good. Well,
So
I guess
yes, it's a
yeah,
hippie commune. I guess it goes
hippie
well.
commune. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my plans are still a little up in the air. I still want to try to get there Tuesday, and I might end up in the Walmart parking lot again. We'll see.
Now you're going to the media area, so do you have to wait a little while longer?
Yeah, well, so last year they told us when they sent the information, media can't get in until Thursday, which
Mm.
honestly makes no sense because Bonnaroo has programming there starting Tuesday. So why would you not want media there for the entire thing, right?
Yeah, and I'm going to side with you on this. I think that is the stuff that you want to cover. Like a lot of these bands, you can see a lot of places, but from Tuesday up until Bonnaroo opens on Thursday, it's community stuff that is very specifically Bonnaroo.
Exactly, and I of course want to be there as early as possible, Tuesday, Wednesday, but I didn't want to wait till Thursday. And then Ada had an extra car camping pass for GA that she loaned me just in case. So if I couldn't get in until Thursday, I would at least be able to maybe park in GA Wednesday.
Okay.
But I just walked up to the box office Wednesday morning and was just asked to get my credentials, and they're like, "Oh yeah, here you go." So I have a feeling I'll be able to get in like that this
Yeah.
year.
I feel like you can. Like one cool thing about Bonnaroo is like, yeah, they have to be a little militant in terms of like logistics and getting the place set up and like getting the basic infrastructure going. But once everything is taken care of and they know everybody's safe, things are a little loosey goosey from that point on.
Yeah, yeah, and of course, kindness goes a long way. If you just go in and you're really nice and
Yeah.
uh, you're not a jerk, yeah, chances are you're gonna get what you need.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like you should give it a try because we got stuff going on Tuesday and Wednesday. They have a lot more going on. Last year it was just us on Tuesday, but now they have DJ Mel and some other things that we're in the woods.
Yeah, so I think the plan is I'm just gonna go down there Tuesday. Might do another night in the Walmart parking lot, which is fine Tuesday night. Get up Wednesday morning and then go pick up my stuff and see if I can get in. I
Now,
know Barry probably won't be there until Thursday or so.
I got to talk to him. We're going to try to get him in the pit for that certain band that we've been talking about,
I think you can.
or at least
Um,
close enough.
and I don't know if you heard the news about Barry. He talked about it on the last show. He's actually changing jobs.
I heard that. I was going to ask him about it. Maybe we should get the news from him. But
Yeah.
is he still going to be riding, or what's the deal?
No, he's going to be. I can't remember the exact title, but he's going to be over all the public libraries in North Georgia, basically.
Really? That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it sounded like a really good opportunity. And of course, I don't want to speak for him, but I think he probably can tell. The newspaper industry is not exactly booming,
Yeah,
and
I had been wondering about that. They shut down the local newspaper essentially here in Huntsville. It's online only now. There is no print edition ever anymore.
well, they did that here with the Chattanooga Times Free Press. They still do a Sunday edition, but everything else Monday through Saturday is digital only.
Mm. Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I'm happy for him though. That sucks
I am
that
too.
news is doing that these days. I mean, we've seen a lot of places like that don't do like investigative or life journalism like they had done here at the Huntsville Times or the Chattanooga Free Press. That's a good pivot for him. I'll have to talk with him about that.
Yeah, I think we'll let him speak more to this change for him, but he's very excited about it. It sounds like a good opportunity. It just the timing because he's if he hasn't switched jobs already, he's within a week or so.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tougher for him to get the time off to go to Bonnaroo. I mean, starting a new job and then asking to take a week off is
Yeah.
kind of difficult. So
Well,
he's
yeah,
trying
I
to juggle
understand.
that.
I was in a similar position a month ago. I totally get it.
Hmm.
Sometimes you got to put your priorities in line, though.
Yeah, yeah. So he'll still be there. Um, but and then Brad's still trying to work it out. Of course he's going to have to fly in, rent a car, and do all this stuff to try to get there. So that's up in the air as well. It's exactly what time everybody's going to get there. So I guess for me it'll be like last year. Like I'm going to be the first one there and the last one to leave.
Yeah, same. I think our plan is we're going to roll in about lunchtime on Tuesday, and then we'll leave Monday whenever we wake up and feel like it.
Pretty much, yeah. I left Monday and like I was pretty much the last person in the media campground, literally there.
With
Everybody else
somebody like,
had
hey, dude, you got to go home. Like,
Actually, no. I mean, I kind
really?
of was like, I wonder how long I could stay until somebody just tells me to leave.
I've heard
But no,
from Mitchell. And if anybody doesn't know who that is, go to Reddaroo, and he'll be very hard to miss. Um,
yes.
he told me once that he stayed pretty late on Monday. He slept in because he was wiped out, and it was like past noon. And like one of the horse cops came and was like, "Hey, are you okay? Like, you should probably."
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah.
working on it."
Yeah. All right, I'll pack it up now. Yeah. But it is nice to just not be in a hurry. Just kind of wake up, take your time, enjoy your last day there, and just kind of roll out whenever you feel it, whenever you're ready.
Yeah,
And of
and it's
course, for me, it's like an hour at most to get home. So
yeah.
not
I was
like
gonna
it's a
say
long
we're
trip.
spoiled because both you and I don't have that far to go. I mean, the bus
Correct.
stops out at like 60, but it still takes me 2 hours tops to go from my house to the farm or back.
Yeah, and I like to take the back roads and avoid the interstate for several reasons, but mostly just
Same.
because it's a beautiful drive. I mean, it's really pretty. You don't ever hit any traffic. It takes you a little longer, but it's a nice leisurely drive. You're not stressed sitting in the sitting on the interstate or anything. So
Now, do you go a different way? Because I would have assumed that you take that interstate over that big hill. What's the name of it? Where the interstate
Mount Eagle.
splits. Yeah. Do you go a different way?
I avoid the interstate completely. I can leave my house and pretty much go back roads straight to Manchester
Hmm. We
and never
mostly
touch an interstate, never touch a major highway.
so we're just outside of Huntsville, Alabama, like kind of in the Harvest area, if anybody local knows where that is. And we mostly take back roads. I would say that about 75% of our route to Bonnaroo is on like these country roads or like kind of out of the way highways. So
Yeah,
we go
yeah.
past the state line, go through Winchester, Tennessee, near our
Hmm.
friend Lindsay's house and his farm, where we have the mini Roo site. If anybody knows that area, we go past like where that Nissan engine plant is, or whatever it is they make over there.
Yeah,
And then
that's in Smyrna, right?
I think so. And then we get on, is it 24? I-24?
I-24, yeah.
I think it's 20 something. Yeah, I-20. We get on there right below where the caverns is, and then go
Hmm.
the rest of the way there. So I'm able to mostly avoid the issues that driving a big hippie bus would give you up until that point. I think, and nobody hold me to this, I think the Tennessee state troopers that give people a hard time mostly kind of give up when you're like within so many miles of Bonnaroo. Like after you get over Mount Eagle, you said is the name of it?
After you get it, yeah, Mount Eagle.
Yeah. Then the presence kind of lightens up. At that point, we've never had issues, and the cops are more worried about making sure that traffic is going as opposed to becoming a honeypot.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to say that for sure, but I think you're right.
That's just my experience. It may be different this
Yeah.
year. I don't know.
Mhm.
We'll see. Well, Taco, my neighbor, has started to cut the grass. Maybe that's our cue.
All right. Well, it was good talking with you. And so, if anyone on our side has not heard of you, Daniel, with at therealroobus on Twitter.
Yeah, Charlotte's doing a lot of that these days because I'm starting to focus on something that I'll talk more about after Bonnaroo, and I've taken a new gig lately, so she's doing a lot of that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's at the Real Roo Bus. Find all of our crazy stuff there, and we will have a lot of new and different things to talk about after Bonnaroo. I'll wait until after all of our fun stuff to tell you about it.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll see you, in a couple weeks?
What are we at down to? 2.5 weeks? How many days? I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
2.5 weeks for us because we'll be there on Tuesday.
Okay. Well, hopefully I'll be there Tuesday as well.
We can sneak you in.
I think so. I'm
Yeah.
not that big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hide under the bed in the back of the bus. We can get you in.
Yeah. Throw me in the trunk. Whatever.
All right. Sounds good, man.
Okay. We'll see you later.
See you, dude.